Welcome back for week number 6 of AP Research. So what we're going to be dealing with is annotated bibliographies this week and trying to start to assemble what we need to assemble for your research paper. So why do I ask you to make an annotated bibliography? I assume that Mr. Lim made you do that last year. But basically, there's a few reasons to do it. So one, it allows you to remember what did I look at and what was the point of this paper. It in part tells me, when I've been looking up stuff. It also turns out to be a useful reference tool because you should have all of the information that you need basically right there, and you should only need to periodically look back. But it's also, if you wish to help others because someone is looking up something similar to you, it's, I found this one resource that turns out to be similar. If you want to look at it, here's what it is. And that information shows up from the Bedford Researcher, which is one of the books that you could borrow if you felt like it. So how do I want your annotated bibliographies to look? You are going to be turning it in. It is going to be graded, but it looks something like this. So I want to know the source properly cited. Why do I want it properly cited? So that you already have it. It's already done for you, so all you have to do is copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. But you already have your source cited. I would like you to tell me what was useful out of it. So what was the point of the paper that you read or the article? The good points, the bad points, summarize what happened inside of it. For the credibility, why should you buy it? Because part of what you're going to need to do is, for your sources, justify why you're using these things. Why should I trust whoever you're quoting in your paper as someone who's credible about the subject? So start telling us why, and we'll deal with that in a moment. If there are any particularly good quotes or things that you know that, I'm going to need to reference it, then put it in. So you already have your quotes found out, and where it says page, you could already have your citation already done. So it's just copy paste. Because if you already know what you want to use, start putting it into here. And then reflection. So how are you planning on using this? What's the point of you grabbing this? What benefit will you get from utilizing this particular paper? And if you have 30 sources, 30 rows. If you have 5 sources, 1, you ain't going to be able to pull anything off with 5 sources. But if you have 5 sources, then you have 5 rows. Seems simple enough. So credibility. Last year you learned something called Raven, or you're supposed to learn something called Raven, so I can't remember it, so I have to read it. So, is the person representative of how people think? Can you actually observe that this person is doing whatever it is? Does the person have some type of vested interest in whatever the topic is? Does the person have any type of expertise? And is the person not horrifyingly biased? Preferably not biased at all, but we're all going to be biased in some way. Ours, we actually look at it from a slightly different point of view because you're looking at it to apply to your research. So you're not viewing it from, I have to use this. You're trying to demonstrate to me that you should be using it, which is a different phenomenon. So the one that was created was called PARC with 2 A's, and it's a C instead of a K because I don't know. So is there a reason for you to use it? So why are you using the source? Do people buy into what this person is saying, or is the person a crackpot and saying a whole bunch of junk that doesn't mean anything? Does the person actually know what he or she's talking about, hence some authority? Is it mildly current, meaning you're not quoting things from 300 years ago because that's the only article you could find? And is it actually something that you can use? So relevance is how current is it, and the currency... Actually, sorry, I got that backwards. The relevance, can you actually use it? The currency would be, how old is this thing? Because if you're doing research, if you're going to do a paper on artificial intelligence, I don't want to be reading that you have sources from 1980. I'd rather you have all your sources from 2016, 2017, because shouldn't we be as current as possible if you're talking about artificial intelligence? So stuff like that. Where can you find this information? You can go to EBSCOhost, so you either go to the digital portfolio or you use the bypass, which is the bit.ly link. EBSCOhost isn't the best. I fully understand it's not the best, but it's it's provided to us for free. I'm trying to get the district to part with some funds so that we can get more resources available to you, because I know there are plenty that aren't EBSCO hosts that turn out to be really good, but it's just a matter of whatever it is. For your citations, again, don't follow what you're always taught in English, which is MLA format, because MLA format is not how people cite things. You cite it in MLA format in English and in literature, hence it's the literary, the L is for literary or literacy, but it has nothing to do with if you're writing a paper about engineering. Engineers don't use MLA format. If you're writing something in history, historians don't use MLA format. They use their own style. So you need to hunt down what those styles are. I have some resources that can help you with that, but the best way to do it would be look at the papers that you're using and follow their style. Notice what the pattern is and then go forth and do that. It's the same thing with the way you structure your paper. You structure it the way your particular genre of research does it. Because psychology will structure papers differently than science will, which will structure papers differently than literature will, which will structure papers differently than ceramics or ceramics history would. So follow the patterns that you notice within your style. Be careful with online generators because they often miss a lot of nuanced stuff. So don't just dump things in and just hope for the best. I gave you that citation generator last time, but even then, don't trust them entirely. And honestly, one of the worst people you could ask is me. Like, I'm writing a paper about economics. Am I citing this correctly? I don't know. Look it up. I know how we cite things in science. That's what I know. But I don't know other styles, so I'm not going to be useful at all with this. That said, start making those annotated bibliographies. It's going to make your life so much easier when you have to write your paper if you have a good annotated bibliography.